I'm so not ready for this. Junpei nodded back and set his mouth in a grim line. Then he slowly lowered the lever. God, what happened? There was a metallic groan, and the door slid open. A breath of air drifted out of it, carrying a stench that nearly made them gag. Junpei grimaced and put a hand over his mouth. Oh my god! Good God. Lotus and Ace shuddered. Seven grunted. Whoa, that's pretty bad. Even Santa's voice shook. He blew up. It appeared that Santa was right. The hallway on the other side of the door was splattered with chunks of torn flesh and dark red blood. Oh, good Jesus, almighty God. The shriek echoed across the room. It had come from June. Then her strength left her and she dropped. As Junpei turned to catch her, the door groaned shut. That was not a pretty sight. Oh, God. She crumpled to the floor. June, you okay? Junpei dropped to his knees and put his arm around her shoulders. It was then he noticed. Her whole body was feverish. She was radiating intense heat. What the hell? Where does fever come from? June didn't answer. Her face looked like wax, and her whole body began to shake. Alright, let's just rest for a minute, okay? You think you can walk? She nodded weakly. Junpei lifted June to her feet and guided her to a nearby chair. That was not a good thing to watch. Oh boy, I probably would be June at that point. As gently as he could, he set her down in it. That is so messed up. How are you feeling? Are you alright? She nodded, and as she did, a single huge tear rolled down the side of her face. Why? Why did this happen? Her voice cracked, broken by misery and grief and choked by sobs. Why did this happen? Junpei spun around. Do any of you know what the fuck is going on here? Who's Zero? What's his non-airy game? Come on, anybody? Anything! What the hell is going on? What are we doing here? No one spoke. Ace, Snake, Santa, Clover, Seven, and Lotus. They simply stood there, their seven pairs of downcast eyes, and 7 grim lines for mouths. June's body shook with silent sobs. They slowed as the minutes ticked by, and eventually they stopped. That is messed up! Then suddenly, in the cold, heavy silence that had enveloped them like a thick fog, a bell began to ring. The clock in the central hall. 7, 8, 9, 10 times. And then on the 10th ring it stopped. The sound of the bell faded away into silence. It's 10 o'clock then. Ace said what each of them had been thinking. That means it's been an hour since Zero's little announcement. Seven's deep voice echoed across the room. Fuck! I've had enough of this crap! Santa leapt to his feet, his fists clenched. How long are we gonna pussyfoot around like this? We've only got 8 hours until this time limit Zero was going on about is up. Let's get going already. Go! Go! Santa's outburst fell on deaf ears. No one seemed to agree with him. They stared back at him, their eyes blank and their faces tired. Finally, Lotus spoke. No, I refuse. I'm not going to end up like him. Him? You mean the 9th man? Of course. Who else? In his mind's eye, Junpei saw the corpse again. The dark reddish-black pool of blood, the scattered pieces of flesh. Organs strewn across the floor like the blossoming of a grotesque flower. The explosion that had torn through his body had been powerful. The 9th man's neck has been twisted at an odd angle. Junpei suspected the detonation had thrown him against the wall. Half of his face was crushed, and the other half was covered in blood. Most of his abdomen had been emptied, either by the explosion or by gravity. He had landed on his back, and stark white ribs jutted up out of his chest, like the legs of some macabre crab. Junpei felt something flip in his stomach. I think he just screwed up. Eyebrows went up and Santa continued. He probably set off some sort of trap and that killed him. I'm not gonna screw up like that. I'm getting out of here alive. Oh boy. Whatever Snake was laughing at, Santa did not find particularly humorous. What's so goddamn funny? Oh, my apologies. You were just so very confident. I couldn't help myself. What the fuck? I think you've mistaken the situation. Huh? The ninth man's death. It had nothing to do with the trap, or at least not the sort of trap you imagined it did. Then he broke one of Zero's rules. That was why he died. Quite simple if you think about it. You still don't? All right. How about you take a moment and think back to what Zero said? Specifically, what did he say about the number of people? He said only 3 to 5 people can pass through the one-numbered door. Right. And after that, you've forgotten the relevant part? What did Zero say? Santa furrowed his brow in thought. Junpei thought back. Zero said, well, obviously not that only 2 people can go through. That everyone's verified had to go. More than 6 people, well, obviously it's the middle one. Because only 3 to 5 people can enter. All those who enter must leave, and all those who must contribute. Right? I think it was something like that. Whatever it was, it means that groups of less than 3 or more than 5 can't go through. That is correct. A gold star for you, Junpei. Ha! I get a gold star. I'm happy. Snake inclined his head toward Junpei. The ninth man, however, broke that rule. He tried to pass through a numbered door by himself. That was why he was executed. Then Zero's watching us from somewhere, making sure we don't break any rules. Oh, I'm not so sure of that. Why not? Because his execution system is entirely automatic. You didn't notice? There's no need for him to monitor us. What do you mean? Snake looked at Seven with what could only be described as pity inside. Very well. I see it must be me who tells you. I've waited long enough, I suppose. I had hoped Zero might spare me the trouble, but that seems increasingly unlikely. This dude is one big douche. He couldn't see them, of course, but perhaps Snake sensed the confused eyes upon him. When Ace spoke, he gave words to everyone else's thoughts. Do you know something? Well, I know a great many things, but yes. What is it you know? Here. Snake removed a card from the pocket of his jacket. With a flourish, he presented it to Ace, who took a close look at it and spoke. Come on now, what's the point of giving me this? Give me that! Santa snatched a card from Ace, but his expression of disgust quickly turned to one of confusion. Huh? What the hell is this? Seven tugged it out of Santa's hands. Everyone's being greedy about this. Huh, I see. The card went from Seven to Lotus, from Lotus to June, and finally to Junpei. He looked at it and understood. Ha! It's Braille! You can't read it, only he can, 'cause he's blind. That makes sense. Ah, game, you're so funny. Sorry guys, I can't read this, 'cause I'm not blind. I apologize wholeheartedly. Okay, that was fun. What's so important about that card? I found it in my pocket. I can only assume it's a message from Zero. From Zero? A message? What does it say? Suddenly, everyone was crowding around Snake, desperate to hear what the message said. Santa especially looked as if he were about to grab hold of Snake and shake the answers from him. You don't do that, Santa. Snake raised his hand. Calm down now. No need to panic. You don't need to force me. I'll read it. Junpei swallowed hard and waited for him to start. He was not the only one. Presently, Snake began to read, his voice calm. His fingers glided over the tiny bumps as he spoke. Bracelet number 2. Since you are not blessed with sight, I shall bless you, and only you, with information. I shall tell you the function of the red, of the dead, and of the bracelet. The red is the recognition device. It will verify your number. Beside every numbered door, you will find a red. The dead is a deactivation device. It does exactly what it says. Once you have passed through the numbered door, you must use the dead to stop the detonator in your bracelet. That is not a good name for a deactivation device. But perhaps you are wondering, what does this detonator detonate? I'm assuming it's a bomb, after what happened with the Ninth Man. I'm afraid this may be something of a surprise. I have placed a small bomb inside of you and the people whom you are about to meet. You swallowed it while you were unconscious. I have no doubt by the time you read this note, the bomb will have passed your stomach and found it— Ew! God! So in other words, you will not be unable to regurgitate. Gee, because I've always wanted to do that. I suggest you do not try. This man's a douche! As I mentioned before, the bracelet on your left hand contains a detonator. Think of it as a remote fuse or timer for the bomb in your body. There's only one condition which will cause it to detonate. That condition is that you enter a numbered door. Once you have done so, the timer will activate no matter who you may be. You will have 81 seconds. If, after that time, the detonator has not been deactivated, it will send a signal to the bomb in your body, instructing it to explode. Well, that sounds wonderful! In order to deactivate the detonator, every person who verified their number at the red must also verify their numbers at the dead. Once all numbers have been verified by the dead, you only need to pull the lever at its side and the countdown will cease. Anyone who does not verify their number at the red will find themselves unable to verify their number at the dead. That is to say, if you should pass through a numbered door without first verifying your number at the red, in 81 seconds you will be dead. That sounds wonderful. You must also keep this in mind that the numbered doors will close automatically after 9 seconds have passed. That's why the door's shut. You will do well to remember this. Lastly, let us discuss how to remove the bracelets. There are only 2 ways to do so. 1, you escape from the ship. 2, your heart rate reaches 0, basically if you're dead. In other words, once the bracelet is taken outside the confines of the ship or detects that its wearer's heartbeat has fallen to 0, it will shut down automatically. There is no other way to remove your bracelet. If you attempt to force it off or disable a detonator, the bomb within you will immediately explode. But this is all the information which I can impart to you. How you choose to use it is for you to decide. If used wisely, you can eliminate those who might be in danger to you. For a time, you would be able to control your fate. I wish you the best of luck. Well, he gave all that to the blind man. And the blind man didn't even have to give it to us. Wow. He was kind. I thank the blind man. Thank you, Snake. Only those who verified the numbers at the red could pass through the numbered doors. Teams could not increase or decrease their numbers. The reds, deads, and bracelets enforced the rules. They were judge, jury, and the executioner. In defiance of Zero's suggestions, both Santa and Seven put fingers down their throats and began to gag. Ugh. We can't take the bombs out. And we can't take the bracelets off, so we are so stuck with these bombs. This is so... oh god, it's so bad. His stomach felt oddly hollow, and his legs were weak. Why had Zero designed such a ludicrous game? Junpei looked over at the others. Alright, I'm gonna ask one more time. Do any of you know anything about Zero? They were all silent, each person waiting to hear what the others would say. Finally, Santa spoke. Actually, I saw him. I saw Zero when I got grabbed. I didn't see his face, though. Son of a bitch was wearing some kind of gas mask. Hey. Yeah, we got the same thing. Well, that's kind of, awkward. There was a moment of silence, and then everyone spoke at once. Yeah, I saw him too. Me too. He was wearing a gas mask. As stories were sorted out, the truth became clear. All of their stories were the same. They had been abducted at home at midnight. The person claiming to be Zero had worn a mask. There had been white smoke, and then each person had passed out. When they awoke, they had found themselves on D-deck in a room with a 3-level bunk bed. Only 7 stories seemed to lack the detail of the others.
Oh, me? Yeah, well, mine was just like the rest of yours.
That was all he had said. It had occurred to Junpei at the time that it sounded somewhat strange, but he didn't press the issue. He hadn't done so because there was something that struck him as even stranger. That was the mystery of the relationship between Snake and Clover. For some reason, they had been abducted from the same room and woken up in the same room. Wow. Junpei looked at them thoughtfully. So what's the deal with the two of you, anyway? It was Clover that answered. Clearly, she felt she had nothing to hide. We're siblings. Siblings? Yes. Snake is my older brother, obviously. That means I'm his little sister. Is that really so hard to understand? Junpei was taken back. The others seemed just as surprised. She is correct, of course. He laid a hand on Clover's shoulder. Are you surprised?
Well, yeah, but...
Why? There are other people here with connections to one another. Those two, for instance. Snake pointed at Junpei and June.
How does he know? Where we are, he's blind.
Ah, yes. You did say you were childhood friends, didn't you? You went to school together? Yeah. June glanced at Junpei, uncomfortable with the sudden attention. Junpei felt somewhat nervous as well and tried to scratch his head as casually as possible. Awkward.
Hey, you think maybe we could figure out who Zero is this way? Yeah, you're right. You connect the dots between the victims and that leads you to the perp. Textbook stuff.
Junpei, June, does any of this ring a bell?
Ring a bell.
Ring a bell? They looked at one another. And like it was staged, they both tilted their neck at the same time. It's like the Hantaro thing. Hecka? Well, perhaps you went to school with the son of a multi-millionaire. A millionaire?
Son?
Well, someone bought this boat and set up all of this. Whoever Zero is, they must be incredibly rich.
Well, we can't be sure of that. To me, this seems as though it's the work of an organization, not an individual. Zero is more likely simply the representative of a larger group. What sort of organization? It could be a number of things. An army, perhaps, or a research group. Perhaps this is all some sort of psychological experiment. If it is, then it's a pretty fucked up experiment. I mean, come on, a guy's dead.
The word dead hung heavy in the air, and ominous. The room went quiet again.
I don't know who the hell the Zero asshole is, but I know for sure he's gotta be pretty fucked up in the head to do all this. If this was all one guy, then he's got some serious issues. Issues with the tissues.
Even with the specter of death hanging over them, their discussions continued for some time. In the end, however, they learned nothing. Well, they all learned that everything happened all together. 1.5 of their 9 hours were gone. All they had to show for it was impatience.
Man, look, we only got 7.5 hours left, okay? You're really sure you want to just sit around?
No one was willing to argue this time.
Very well then. There's only one way for us to proceed. Not gonna be fun running around knowing we gotta jump when Zero says jump.
Gotta ask how high, motherfucker! Well, it's stupid to sit around here doing nothing. Nothing! Thanks to Snake's card, at least we have some idea of how this all works.
Correct, and so long as we follow the rules, we will most likely be alright. But what?
Who's going to go in which door? June looked toward the numbered doors.
Oh yeah, that's right. We can't have any more than 5 people in one door. All 8 of us can't go in the same door.
then it would seem we would have to split up.
Wait!
Lotus looked terrified.
I'm telling you now, there is no way in hell I'm going into door 5.
Come now, don't be selfish.
Call me whatever the hell you want. I'm not going in there. If I'm going to have to walk through all that blood, then I'd rather stay here.
And we were doing so well. We're getting along, looking at your boobs, having a cup of tea, looking at your boobs. Sorry, but I ain't going in there either. Someone else can go into door 5. Oh, Santa, not you too. Hey man, I just bought these shoes. If you think I'm getting some creepy dude's blood all over them, you got this dude's a I'm assuming he's a teenager. That was the last straw. What the hell, man? Weren't you the one who kept saying we should get going? Yeah? Doesn't mean I wanted to go into door 5. Oh god. Poor old man. Finally, 7 spoke. Fine. I'll go into door 5. I can't go in there alone, though. Anyone else willing to come with me? There was another long silence. This time, Snake was the one to break it. I'll go.
What?
Don't worry, you'll be fine. We may part now, but I'm certain we'll meet again later.
How do you know that?
Because I do.
That's not an answer! If you're going, I'm going too! I'm going into door 5.
What am I going to do with you? There's nothing you have to do. Ace stepped forward. If I join you, the problem is solved, correct? 7 is 7, and Snake is 2. And if you add Clover's 4 and my 1, the digital root would be 5. Oh, he's right. Would you look at that?
Oh, it works perfectly! The 4 of us can go into door 5!
Wait, what about the other 4? What's their digital root gonna be? Junpei did a quick mental calculation. Lotus, Santa, June, and Junpei remained. Their bracelet numbers were 8, 3, 6, and 5. So 8 plus 3 is 11. 11 plus 6 is 17. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So 2 plus 2 is 4. So the digital root would be 4. I was right. Yeah, bro. He repeated what he determined. It's 4. Add up our 4 bracelets numbers and the digital root is 4.
Then we can go into door 4?
Yeah, that worked out well. A little too well, if you ask me. Junpei ran over the team assignments in his head one more time. 4 people would go into door 5. 7, Snake, Clover, and Ace. While 4 people will go into door 4, which is Lotus, Santa, June, and me. Junpei had to ask himself if the teams were what he really wanted. Beyond door 5 was what remained of the 9th man. He never wanted to see that thing again, but something in him said it would be unwise not to examine the corpse even a little closer. Of course, if he went through door 5, he wouldn't be going with Lotus and Santa. True, it would be possible for him to bring it would be possible to bring June with him through door 5, but that would mean she would have to see the horrific carnage that awaited there. We don't need that happening. Nope. Junpei was torn. Should he stay silent and go through door 4, or should he stop them all and insist on going to door 5? As he turned his options over and over in his mind, Ace spoke up. Alright then. It seems we've reached a conclusion. Shall we go? He began to walk towards door 5. Clover and Snake followed him, with 7 a short distance behind. Junpei, which door do you want to go through? And I'm gonna stop it here because I want you guys to decide what door I'm going into. Could I go into door 4 with Santa, June, and Lotus? Or do I go into door 5 with the others to see the bloody corpse? Our options weigh. We get to stay with June when we go into door 4, or door 5, we don't have June, but we can observe the body. So it's up to you guys to decide, and next week, I will give you the answer next time on another video of 999. Until then, this is CanisSkye signing out, saying take care, and I will see you on another video. Bye now! Fuck yeah, motherfucker!